Welcome to the video for sections 123 and 124 of Hansen and Quinn's Greek and Intensive course on the future optative and the future infinitive. You'll find these sections in Hansen and Quinn on pages 463 to 465. In your adventures so far with the Greek verb, you learned the optative and that it appears in all three voices, in all persons, and all numbers. And you learned before that it comes in three tenses, but we had only done the present and the aorist. Now we will do the future. So here are how we do the forms of the future optative active. It should be no surprise, since you know that all future active things come from this second principal part, that we'll take that stem and add endings. So here is our welcome model verb luo, and we'll get the stem from the second principal part, and it'll look like this. And we will add these endings to it. Oimi, ois, oi, oimen, oita, oyen. And I hope those look quite familiar from way back when you learned the present optative active. The accent is recessive, and just like the other future tense forms that you know, it has progressive repeated aspect. So, if we put the stem together with the endings, we will get these forms, which we will then add recessive accent to, and we'll get lusoimi, lusois, lusoi, and here again, in the third person singular, the omicron iota at the end of a word unusually does count as long, which accounts for that acute staying there in the second to last syllable. And then in the plural, we'll have lusoimen, lusoita, lusoyen. I don't have a situation in which to translate this yet, and so because it's the optative and there are too many things it can do, I won't give you a default translation. If you have a future contract, something that's epsilon or alpha contract in the second principal part, you will follow the same contraction rules that you have for the present optative active, including the alternate forms. But those should be easy to recognize and shouldn't present much problem. Now let's go on to the future optative middle. Again, as you would expect, it's from the second principal part to which we'll add endings. And we'll have recessive accent. And here we have our modal verb and our stem again. And this time the endings, oimein, oia, oita, oimetha, oistha, ointa. Again, these shouldn't be a surprise. They're exactly the same as the present optative middle endings. And again, progressive repeated aspect. So let's see what that looks like put together. Here are our stems put together with the endings. And with the recessive accent, we get lusoimein, lusoia, lusoita, lusoimetha, lusoistha, and lusointa. If you have a future contract, an epsilon or alpha contract in the second principal part, you will again follow the same rules for the contraction that you do for present contract optatives. When we move on to the future optative passive, of course, we go to the sixth principal part, which is where we get everything passive and future. We take off the past indicative augment, and we add the ace infix, that extra little syllable, plus the endings. So accent will be recessive again, and with our modal verb, we will go to the sixth principal part. We'll take the unaugmented stem from that and add the ace infix, the ace extra syllable, and then we'll add these endings. Again, the same endings you saw for the future optative middle and for the present optative middle, and passive. Oimein, oia, oita, oimetha, oista, ointa. Again, this is progressive repeated aspect, and there's no default translation because we don't know how to translate an optative until we see it in its own clause. So when we put that together, we will have these stems with the infix, the extra ace syllable, plus the endings, and with the recessive accent, it's going to be luthesoimein, luthesoia, luthesoita, luthesoimetha, luthesoista, and luthesointa. Not too hard. Exactly the patterns I think you would expect from the things you already know about the future in other moods. Let's continue on then to the future infinitive active, which again will come from the second principal part plus an ending, which should be no surprise to you, is ein, just like the present infinitive active ending. So if you put that together with the stem from the second principal part loose, you get loosein, and its recessive accent will make it look like this. The future infinitive middle, of course, second principal part and ending, and this will be the ending that you already know from the present infinitive middle, and that's esthai. And so with the second principal part stem and recessive accent, you get lucesthai. And the future infinitive passive, of course, comes from the unaugmented sixth principal part stem with the ace added syllable, the ace infix, and the ending, which again should not surprise you, esthai. And so altogether, with the recessive accent, it's luthesesthai. And that is what you need to know about the future optative forms and the future infinitive forms, which will come in very handy as we move on to indirect statement in Greek.